At 93, you are not so spontaneous. You search,
you
search for words.
24.
And what did we think of the scenery? Oh, it was. And how long did it take to convert the house? Oh, I don't want to put that in. And so on and so on. It goes bubbling away in your mind. I was a journalist, and Angus was at Thompson's newspapers. So we found a little cottage near Inverness in Strathnairn, and it seemed perfect. We only knew one definite thing, and that was we wanted to live near a river. Mains of Failey was a very old farm. Somebody died there in 1600, and it had the most marvellous stone walls, handmade, dry stone walls. Having done the cottage and had someone living in there to look after us, that was a major thing. Well, there wasn't any great event. With the war, there were several events. Are those two dogs are loose?
Oh, they were, yeah. Look.
It's sunny. Put them in the veranda. Put one of them in the veranda. I have my egg sandwiches.
Yeah.
And
Just
then I'll
finish
have a
making
glass
it?
of lager,
Mm-hmm.
and that's all I want.
Just the sandwich.
Oh, and I'll have the grapes and the cream cheese.
You don't want any soup?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I can certainly talk to you, as I did this morning, about places to go to.
Yes.
And you go and fetch the map, and we look at it. And I can do it perfectly spontaneously. And I can say, oh gosh, I forgot we went to a
Was
little...
that when you broke into the house in Glen Affric?
Yes, I was just...
We were talking about
I was talking about that.
She was telling me about Glen Affric.
And I said to everybody, we're all dying to go to the loo. And I said, anybody want to go to the loo? Because there are 4 here, I remember from the old days. Fine, pick your own. And they did. There was this togetherness about the house, the rooms in Failey, especially on the ground floor, which when I moved, because I didn't feel that same feeling when everybody had gone. And I felt I couldn't replace it. Our shooting days were very exciting. We started off very early. We usually had people staying, and they were all excited too, which made a difference. And we all went up onto our little moor, and which we bought when we bought Galvey Allen. It was what they call a walk-up moor, which means you didn't have any people beating. We didn't have any butts. We just walked to the top of the hill and hoped that we'd find some birds to shoot, which we did, not to great number in the whole season. We didn't kill more than 50 brace, which for a moor like that, which is quite big, wasn't very much. And when we got back, that was a great fun too, because we settled down to a warm evening with a very good drink and a good dinner. And we went to bed very late because we were talking. Altogether, it was a lovely life. Anyone who wanted to fish, you just walk down to the river and threw in a fly. And if it didn't catch a fish, we didn't worry too much because it was so lovely, standing in the cold water and seeing the view from it. You could see the hills in the distance, which changed colour all day up to the sunset, where they went a sort of lovely deep purple. And you can see marks where the meltwater came down when it melted. You could see them in the sandy quarries. It's like a sandwich. Then we had small oval hills, rather like large lozenges, which we were surrounded by, which I discovered were glacial, a great heap of gravel and pebbles and stones had been shoved aside by the glacier when it was running, melting. And they were called eskers. They were nice little hills, nothing more. We had a big bonus when we bought the house. It was a loch up a hill which belonged to the estate, with a boat on it. That was also very exciting. It was unknown. It was a very big pull up the hill, and once you got up there, you went along lovely boggy ground until you reached the loch, which was quite deep in the middle, 16 feet, but very shallow round the edges. So if you wanted to swim, which I did a lot in the summer, you could go into the warm water one end and work your way through to the middle without any discomfort. The children, it was the great high point of the holidays, this loch and the boat, because they could fling themselves off the boat into the water. The dogs came and did the same. And then we retired to the bank, tied the boat up, and had a huge picnic in the heather. The children were so thrilled with this water that they went there whenever they possibly could. I mean, in the spring they collected frogs on the edge of the water. They waded out to a little island in the middle and took the boat out themselves, the older children. They managed to take the boat out by themselves because it wasn't dangerous, as long as you could swim, and the children all could swim. So we enjoyed every minute of that, and it was difficult not be able to go up there every day. And later on, when we had been there a longer time, we built a boathouse so we could put the boat inside. Although it was rural Scotland, we did get vandals, and they used to smash up break into it, and break into the boathouse. Anyway, we managed to keep them at bay most of the time. Walk you could do from the loch, which took you right round in a huge circle and brought you back to the beginning again. And that took up more or less a whole afternoon, if not more. And you'd stop by the way and sit about in the heather, and then you get up and go on again. And it passed through several lochs, little ones. And the dogs went mad because there were masses of hares and rabbits all the way through this walk. And it was our favourite walk of all. And we managed to get back to the beginning where we got into opened the gate and got into the loch area. We turned back from the loch, day out at the loch, with the dogs dripping wet and us in a very muddy, dishevelled sense. Because if we didn't swim, we'd wade, and if we didn't wade, we'd just sit around. It was altogether the most marvellous life I've ever spent. And I just blessed the day that Angus said, well, would you settle to go to Scotland? Because if they hadn't said that, we never would have.